If WWE puts it on the air, then surely it's intentional and meant for mass consumption, right? Well, nope, not quite. Live TV bites, folks. And the people in charge of manning WWE production/cameras and the wrestlers themselves are prone to just as much human error as anyone else. And sometimes their errors accidentally make it out in front of your eyes. We're live, pal! So with that in mind, I am Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 on-air WWE moments you were not supposed to see. Number 10, Kane waits for his cue. Apologies for the quite horrendous quality of the image that you can see right here, but it's difficult to find a high-res snap of Kane looking totally puzzled as he waits for a WWE production staffer to cue him up. Unsurprisingly, the company edited this moment out of their rerun on the Network/Peacock service. Picture this, John Cena's promo is interrupted by a screeching Eve Torres, as she's supposedly forced into an ambulance before the doors are slammed shut. This happened on the 13th of February 2012 episode of Raw, but things did not go smoothly. Live viewers retreated to the odd visual of Eve walking into the vehicle calmly. Then Kane staring back towards the cameras for a green light. It's just as well Torres wasn't screaming as she carefully walked into the back of that ambulance without being pushed. That would have been unintentionally hilarious to witness though, to be fair. No wonder WWE made the call to cut this clanger out. What a gent Kane was though, eh? Holding the doors open for Eve was politeness personified. Number 9, Matt Riddle forgets his lines. Matt Riddle's, half-baked silliness likely had a so-called perfectionist like Vince McMahon tearing his hair out. The then boss was obsessed with trying to make everything on WWE programming as slick as possible, which often dulled the atmosphere to the point that flagship shows like Raw became mind-numbing to sit through. Riddle bucked that trend in his own special way on the 30th of March 2021 episode, during a memorable skit opposite Asuka. The scooter-riding babyface completely forgot what he was supposed to say during a backstage bit, and so the following came out. I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying. Then the US champion just dashed off out of shot on his scooter, as you do. Asuka looked completely lost, bless her, and could not stop herself from giggling at the ridiculousness of it all. Live TV bit Riddle hard here, but he later claimed that Randy Orton called this his best promo yet. The Viper was almost certainly taking the urine with that statement, right? Number 8, the wrong SummerSlam clip airs live. There is a parallel universe without Gene Okerlund's F-it botch. That, dear viewers, is not a world worth living in if you ask me. Oh, Mean Gene brought the house down in living rooms across the globe at SummerSlam 1989, when a bit of the set behind him fell during a promo with Bobby Heenan and Rick Rude. The WWF actually filmed a second take earlier in the day, but production accidentally slotted the botch-riddled one into the pay-per-view instead. As a result, the commentary team laughed heartily at Okerlund's fright, and one of Vince McMahon's typically slick tentpole events earned a place in botch heaven forever. Rude did not look amused though. Bruce Pritchard was the one who dished the dirt on the production mix-up via his podcast. He recalled Gene going in for another take, and everyone agreeing it was just as well the promo hadn't been shot live. Yeah, about that. Number 7, a ref/Ronda Rousey botches WrestleMania 35's finish. Some wrestling fans may be pleased to see the back of Ronda Rousey now, but it's easy to forget that she was a viable WrestleMania headliner just 5 short years ago. In fact, Ronda made WWE history with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair in 2019, but all three would rather you forgot about the finish. One of Rousey's shoulders clearly popped off the mat during a Lynch pinfall attempt, but the referee counted 3 anyway. Yes, during the main event of WrestleMania. Oh dear. Predictably, that did not sit well with Vince McMahon behind the curtain, and understandably so on this occasion. Being fair, Ronda took some ownership on her podcast by saying she squirmed free by mistake, but it was still one of the biggest botches ever. The referee involved was punished by McMahon, and he must have spent his evening staring at a hotel room ceiling whilst fearing the chop. There was just no hiding the fact Rousey had clearly kicked out. And speaking of that historic all-female WrestleMania main event, what is your favorite women's match in WWE history? You let me know in the comments section down below. Number 6, Chelsea Green gets caught out. Time for something very, very recent. This is actually something the dude who wrote this list, the great Jamie Kennedy, spotted live on the big screens when attending the 14th of June 2024 episode of SmackDown over in Glasgow, Scotland. At the time, he asked someone nearby if they'd spotted it too, but they hadn't and didn't know what that guy was talking about. Poor Jamie. So here's an explanation. Bayley and Naomi walked through some hallways before being confronted by Blair Davenport. However, their rival Chelsea Green could be seen scampering away in the background. This was clearly a mistake, because Chelsea walked in a minute or so later like she just stumbled across the babyfaces. Then Piper Niven flattened them against a nearby wall. That's just what she does. There is no way that Bayley and Naomi would have missed Green in the screenshot that you can see here either. They were looking right at her as she quickly sprinted out of shot behind Davenport. The way Chelsea sauntered back into view like none of this had even happened though did raise a chuckle. To professionalism, eh? Thank you very much for checking out this list today, my friend, and if you're enjoying what you're watching, then hit that subscribe button down below for more of this What Culture Wrestling stuff on your screen. Number 5. Roman Reigns is stuck. Even the best suffer the indignity of human error. The great Roman Reigns worked the also fantastic Kevin Owens in an otherwise fine last man standing match at the 2021 Royal Rumble PLE. At one point, KO handcuffed Roman to a piece of production rigging and watched him struggle to break free before the referee's 10 count. A certain tribal chief was panicking for real though. Paul Heyman fumbled about with the keys and could not unlock the cuffs in time. Things got awkward as hell because the ref had to stop his count during a last man standing match in which one of the participants couldn't stand up. Thus, it looked for all the world like this official was in Roman's pocket. Madness. That wasn't the story, obviously. Paul Lee and Reigns were sweating buckets trying to break the champ free so the match could continue. As such moments tend to do, their panicked fumbling seemed to last forever before Roman was eventually freed. The dude was borderline scarlet with embarrassment. Number 4. A WWE staffer's Facebook account. Imagine beaming your social media account up in front of a sold-out arena of rowdy wrestling fans. It'd be a nightmare. But it happened to one of WWE's backstage crew during the 2nd of January 2017 Raw. Worse, it happened during Stephanie McMahon's entrance. So everyone in attendance had eyes fixed on the stage at the time. Again, what a nightmare. Production screwed up Steph's Tron, and a shot of some staff member's Facebook account flashed up on the screen instead. Thankfully, there was nothing personally embarrassing on there, but this cannot have gone down well behind the scenes. Vince McMahon liked to hide behind a saccharine wall of slick production, remember? Then there was Dave from the truck asking his mate Alex if he fancied grabbing beers later that night. Okay, it was unclear exactly what was said, or if it was the staffer's Facebook timeline/DMs. But yeah, how mortifying for someone to have their private life aired live on WWE's flagship. Could have been worse, I guess. Much worse. Number 3. Jeff Hardy misses Randy Orton. Again, I am sorry about how brutally bad the picture is here. It's impossible to get a clearer one though. This was not on screen for very long. Fans of a certain vintage, which should make everyone feel sick when discussing 2008, will remember Jeff Hardy's jaw-dropping swanton bomb off the Raw staging onto Randy Orton below. That occurred on the 14th of Jan 2008 episode of WWE's Monday Night Staple. And it ruled. Jeff absolutely crushed Randy. Or not. This was a familiar killer stunt, but WWE accidentally exposed it on the Hardy Boy-obsessed Twist of Fate DVD later. That set included an alternative angle of the bump that showed Hardy landing beside Orton, not on top of him. Sure, most fans realized this was the case live too, but it kinda sucked to see WWE use this new angle and completely murder the illusion. Someone defo got their knuckles dinged for putting that on the DVD. The release was a behind-the-scenes look at things, but showing how WWE magic tricks worked was perhaps a step too far here. Number 2. Pay-per-view rivals get friendly. Meanwhile, this was just funny. At Rock Bottom 1998, a grinning Vince McMahon walked out of a quaint office after apparently chin-wagging with Mankind. The problem? When McMahon rounded a corner and before the cameras could cut away, both Mick Foley and The Rock could be spotted in the background having a friendly chat about their upcoming match. Yikes. Mankind versus The Rock was one of the WWF's featured bouts on that very pay-per-view. They were in a world title match, so it looked a bit weird to see them engaging in a convo on air. Even stranger, hadn't Vince been jawing with Foley mere moments before? Add teleportation to Mankind's list of skills immediately. A lot of people like to rag on WCW for this kind of rubbish, but the WWF was guilty of some error-strewn production too. X would get all sorts of fired up if Drew McIntyre and CM Punk were spotted having a little chat before brawling in 2024, put it that way. Number 1. Cody Rhodes equals unknown talent. Here it is, the one you knew was coming. Probably because it was on the thumbnail. Countless fans in attendance for Clash at the Castle 2024 over in Scotland spotted this as it happened. And countless more watching from home would have been screenshotting themselves silly. There, right before the opening I Quit classic between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, WWE's production team effed up. A nameplate popped up for Cody, but it did not say his name. It didn't even get his title right. No, it claimed he was one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions and was called Talent Name. Oops, clearly this was a template trigger gone wrong. Somebody in the truck pushed the wrong button or something. It happens, people. It probably didn't come across on TV, but according to our own Mr. Kennedy again, the live crowd guffawed at this botch. And that gave Rhodes' usually amped up ring announcer intro an odd atmosphere. I mean, people were probably understandably still laughing a bit by the time the correct WWE title graphic popped up on screen and the bout properly kicked off. What a silly moment. Live TV, man, you gotta love it. And hopefully you've loved this 10 on-air WWE moments you weren't supposed to see list. And if that's the case, then go and check out this 10 WWE house show moments wrestlers didn't want you to see one too. Because trust me, it's just as good. You're gonna have such a good time. I'm so jealous. Bye-bye.